Sorry, but I knew you'd like this, Walsh.
It's a little more ceremonial than our normal
Bruce
I'll get used to
Springsteen.
it, Curly. I'll get used to it.
All right, let's see. You got a whole bunch of bones to pick here, Walsh. State Representative, Chairman of the Washington State Party. Which one do we start with? Because you and I are going to go round and round. The Washington State Fair has said, hey, GOP, take your stuff somewhere else. And if you want to talk about abortion, take your stuff somewhere else. And now I think, is somebody in there right now sitting at the table trying to work all this stuff out with the Washington State Fair?
Well, there's news today.
Oh, here we go. Wait, breaking news. Okay.
The Washington State Fair in Puyallup has released a statement that they have reached an agreement, at least a kind of an agreement in principle, with the Pierce County GOP, which is the lead point in this whole thing. The state party works through the local county parties in going to fairs and setting up events like this. So the Pierce County GOP and the chair down there is Dave McMullen, has been the point person in dealing with the fair on this matter of were they going to refuse to let not just the Republican Party in, John. It was more than that. They were going to shut down a number of organizations that normally exhibit, that normally have booths at the fair. They were going to shut them down because at least their initial position was they had decided that their values did not align with the fair. Well, anyway, the announcement today is that there's an agreement and the fair is going to allow the GOP to have its booth and to do its things, sell its merch and get people to sign initiatives and do other things that the party has always traditionally done at the fair. They're going to let them do it, and they're going to make allowances for these other organizations to find a place to be at the fair too. So the paint is still wet, but it looks like there's a good agreement.
Is there something that the parties represented by the Republicans and the pro-life folks, did they have to do anything in order to meet some new standard that was set by the organizers of the fair?
It does not look like that. As I said, the details are still being worked out, but I am reasonably confident that this will be a good agreement.
Let's go philosophical here.
But
Walsh, let's go philosophical here. This is not government. This is a private group that puts on the fair, correct?
That is correct. It is not a government agency.
So they receive no government taxes. There's no subsidies. It's some business, and this is what the fair is.
I didn't say that, John. I think they do receive various types of subsidy in various ways.
Okay.
But they are not a government entity.
Right. So if they were a government entity, well, then this would be easy. This is goose through a poop because a poop through a goose. The other way around would be difficult.
I like your reversal. It's metaphysical.
All right. So either way, that goose would have a serious intestinal problem. That would be an open and shut case. That is the government infringing upon your freedom of expression. You have the right to do that. But this is a private organization. They can pick and choose who they want to have at their fair. And you, as a GOP conservative, sometimes libertarian kind of guy, you could see that, right? Because you don't want anybody, if you don't want to have it, you shouldn't be able to have it. I'm surprised that you're pushing so hard to have a private entity, in a way, be forced to have displays that they don't want.
Well, I mean, first of all, John, we're not forcing anybody to do anything.
Whoa, Jim, because you said that if somebody said, hey, listen, if you don't let us in there, this is going to be a big problem. They would boycott and things like that. So that's some, commercial force upon them, right?
Well, okay. But that's not force of government.
No.
Here. This is the force of public opinion and the force of really, I think, good faith. Now, the point is there is some law at play here.
Okay.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964 includes Title II, which talks about public accommodations. And if you're going to make a facility, and it can be a restaurant, it can be a hotel, it can be all kinds of things. If you're going to make a facility open to the public, you have to make it open to the whole public. You can't discriminate unfairly, illegally about who can use a public facility, a public accommodation that's open to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there may have been an argument. The crisis has been averted.
Okay.
But the interesting question would have been, would this be a matter of a public accommodation? And, you're going to hear people say, no, it's not, it's different, it doesn't apply here. But you might hear some people say, no, it looks like this is equivalent to a hotel or a restaurant banning service to certain people because they don't think their values align.
Okay, so that one's good. So the breaking news on that is the GOP, Pierce County GOP, they have come to an agreement, and now at the Washington State Fair, they can have their booth, they can sell their merch. How about the folks that had the pro-life booth? Were they part of that organization, or that was a separate party that was complaining that they had been shut out?
Well, they're clearly a separate organization, but that's where the details are still being worked out. There's going to be some agreement here, and they're going to be allowed. I believe, in principle, they're going to be allowed to participate in some manner, and it's going to be up to each of the individual groups. Remember, it wasn't just the Republican Party; it was a number of different groups that were given at least this initial high hand. Now they're going to work it out. So this is good. I mean, we want to encourage the good here.
Yes.
This is a good resolution, and they'll work out the details and hopefully get to a place where each of these groups can participate on terms that work for them and for the fair.
Okay, now moving on to the next one. Glenn Morgan from We the Governed looked at 29 out of 39 counties, and what he decided to do is he wanted to see how many people of the registered voters, how many of them don't have Social Security numbers attached to, but have the ability to vote. And he came up with a number 14%. So I don't know what the total amount was, but it is quite remarkable when you think about it. The way he did this is he got the records. He used to do this. You get the records. If you go and you get jury duty, in order to get jury duty call, you had a driver's license. And then when they would say to you when you're going through, the initial interview, are you a citizen of the United States? They would then say no. So then you're like, okay, well, then that's a problem. You're getting called. You've got a driver's license. You're not a citizen of the United States. You got those numbers. That's how we used to get the data. Then when he found out that you're not allowed to get that data anymore, but he dug in again, and he's able to find out that 14% of registered voters don't have Social Security numbers.
Correct. This is the kind of investigative reporting that the mainstream media used to do and just doesn't do anymore.
Yeah.
And so good on Glenn Morgan and We the Governed, his podcast and his website, for doing the actual number crunching, the shoe leather type reporting that newspapers used to do. Now, he was able to work. Some of it was because he was working with whistleblowers, and you have to talk with him about the details of that. But he had some help with people on the inside of the election processes to help him identify the ways to determine that there are a number of illegally registered voters. Now, that doesn't mean they're illegal aliens. It just means that the way that they registered to vote does not line up with either federal law or non-law policy at the federal level for who can be legitimately registered to vote. So these people could be citizens. They're just not properly registered to vote. Or they could be non-citizens who are also not properly registered to vote. And the number is bigger than the Secretary of State's office has been saying for years. The number, as you mentioned, looks like it's about 14%. That's 1 in 7 approximately registered voters are not right. The interesting thing was the state Secretary of State, now they're the state agency that oversees election processes. The state Secretary of State's office acknowledged the problem because this is new. For years, they've been saying there is no problem, that everybody who's registered to vote has been registered properly. Mm-hmm. They acknowledge that there's a problem. Their counter argument to Morgan's investigative report was, well, the number's shrinking. We're making it better. It's not as bad as it was, which is actually a major pivot because they're acknowledging that his report is basically right. What they're quibbling over are the number of registered voters this means. They're saying the number is smaller and Morgan is saying it's larger.
Okay, so that's some movement there. And will that take some of the pressure that is coming from Washington, D.C., an investigation that was launched, or the beginning of, or at least the idea of stepping in and starting to go through the voter rolls in the state of Washington? We were getting that from Washington, D.C. Is that still moving forward?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that will probably pick up because now we are at least officially acknowledging we've got a problem and we do need to do what our law actually says we're supposed to do. Our state law is good in this way. We're just not following it. Our state law says we're supposed to update our voter databases on an ongoing basis. That's what the law says. And that's good. We agree with that. That's
right.
Good law. We just aren't doing it like the law says. Now, most county auditors who are the experts in this stuff will tell you ongoing means you should be updating the database about once a month. And that would be great if we were doing that. And a few counties are doing that. But most, frankly, are not. They're not updating their voter databases that regularly. And we need to get to where we are. And this is going to take a lot of work because, frankly, there's been a lot of denial. Up until now, we've had, like the Secretary of State at the state level, a lot of the county auditors were saying, well, there's no problem. Everybody's legit. Everything's fine. Everything's up to date. And we know it's not. So this helps a lot. There's still going to be pressure from the feds. And the initiative that we've got out there that would require proof of citizenship is part of this solution also. So hopefully this will give a little more oomph to that signature gathering going on right now.
I'm going to play some sound from Bondi. She mentioned some letters about sanctuary cities. I think she throws us in there.
With the federalization of the police department, is that just a DC thing, or could that be done in New York or elsewhere?
Let's wait and see what's going to happen. But I just sent sanctuary city letters to 32 mayors around the country and multiple governors saying you better be abiding by our federal policies and with our federal law enforcement, because if you aren't, we're going to come after you. And they have I think a week to respond to me. So let's see who responds and how they respond.
So here we get into this thing. So we've got the law that was passed, Keeping Washington Working Act. I don't think any Republicans voted for the thing. Is aimed to support the state's economy and immigrant roles within it. It basically just said, listen, we're not going to have local law enforcement in any way assist when it comes to the federal government with the enforcement of immigration. Is that just it? Obviously you didn't vote for it. I don't think anybody else on the other side voted for it.
Not hardly, John.
Right.
Not hardly.
So it's just creating this wall, this block that we're not going to help you in any way. We're going to make sure that everybody that's here feels safe and sound. What's the purpose of it really? What's behind it? It can't just simply be we just feel like this is a great place for everybody. What's really behind wanting to make sure illegal immigrants have a safe place in the state of Washington? Following the money.
Bad faith, cynicism, and the manipulation of the census, if not of voting. Remember, in the Obama administration era, and really before, but the Obama group focused it, the census counts people regardless of their citizenship or their immigration status. If you're in a place, the census wants to count you.
Yes.
And this determines a lot of how many Congress members states get. In some cases, it determines how much certain federal program money areas get. And so what the progressive left in Washington has decided is we want as many illegal immigrants in Washington state as we can get so that we can gin up our numbers for the census counts that determine how many Congress seats we get and how much money from various benefit programs and other federal block grant type programs we get. It's a cynical strategy. And in order to do this, they have to prohibit, forbid our local law enforcement from enforcing the law and helping the federal agencies enforce the law. It is absolutely cynical. It is lawlessness. It is no different than saying we are going to bar the sheriff's deputies from enforcing anti-fentanyl law, possession law. It is codifying breaking the law. It's nuts, John, and we have to stop it. And Pam Bondi, whose voice you heard there, she's the U.S. Attorney General back in D.C., she's right on the mark. It is against federal law to break federal law. What a shock. And, our policies here that break federal law are illegal. And Bondi has given a warning and our governor, Mr. Ferguson, was on the warning list. And I'm sure he's going to, get his script writers, speech writers up there and gin up some press release where he's going to fight the evil Trump or whatever he wants to say. But look, dude, you are defending lawlessness. You are defending breaking federal law, and you shouldn't do that.
But part of that law as well, a separate law, Jim, as you know, is that the federal government cannot in any way take local funds that have been raised primarily and exclusively for the law enforcement of that state. There is that very, very high wall. They try to do, various sort of ways around it. During the Obama administration, they'd come in and say, oh, we need to come in there because we think your people's civil rights are being violated. So we're going to, go in there and basically run your police department for you. But in the meantime, if everything is just sort of copacetic, the federal government can't say, take some of your local guys, use their money or use their time and money in order to help us do our job, right?
Complicated question, short answer, yes, that's right. You're right.
So that's where it's going to get a little muddy in here. Like they say, hey, we're not going to do anything for you. We're not going to spend any money to help you do your job. But there is ways they can make it a little simpler. Rather than releasing somebody, you could hold them for a detainer when ICE says, hey, if you got that guy and he's raped a 12-year-old, we want to come get him and get him out of the country. In the state of Washington, they don't do anything to support ICE because they simply don't, I guess.
They won't hold that guy. Yeah, that's right. And the other way where this hits the road and is practical, John, is what ICE wants to do is they want access to jails and prisons. If you gave them their best strategy, they don't want to go do street roundups. They want to get access to state prisons and to jails. And they want to go check the roster at the prison or the jail against their roster of known illegal aliens and go get the illegal aliens who are committing other crimes, the rape, an assault, a drug deal, whatever. They want to focus on getting the multiple offenders. But our stupid law says that the sheriff or the state agency that's managing the prison or the jail can't let ICE get in and check the population.
Well, they're just trying to keep Washington working, Jim.
Yeah, keep the fentanyl dealers and rapists working.
Well, that's a big out right there. Thanks, Jim Walsh, for your time. Get back.